My brothers and sisters, I came here today to tell you something that will change the way you see your struggles, your pain, your challenges. Listen to me. Don't stress. Everything is temporary. I know life can feel overwhelming. I know the weight of the world can press so hard on your shoulders that you feel like you can't breathe. But hear me when I say, this storm will pass. This season will shift. The pain you feel today is not permanent. You see, we often act like what we're going through is our final destination, but it's not. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the financial struggle, the disappointment, it's not the end of your story. It's just a chapter. And chapters change. Seasons change. The leaves don't stay green forever. The sun doesn't shine all day. And just like nature moves from winter to spring, your life will shift too. You gotta believe it. Think back to something you thought you wouldn't survive. Maybe a breakup, a loss, a failure. You cried, you hurt, you thought you wouldn't make it, but look at you now. You made it through. That's proof that storms don't last always. So why are you stressing? Why are you worrying yourself sick over something that's already on its way out? God never intended for you to live in constant anxiety. He said, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That means it's temporary. Here's an expanded, full-length speech on don't stress, everything is temporary in a powerful motivational style. I need you to hear me today. Everything in life is temporary. The pain you feel, the struggle you face, the mountain in front of you, it is not permanent. It may feel like it's never going to end, but I came to tell you this is only a season. Some of you are standing in the middle of a storm right now, wondering if you'll ever see the sun again. The winds are howling, the rain is pouring, and you're tired of holding on. I know what that feels like. I know what it's like to cry yourself to sleep at night, wondering if things will ever change. But let me remind you, the storm doesn't last always. Have you ever noticed that even the darkest night has to give way to the morning? No matter how long or how deep the night is, the sun will rise again. And if the night is temporary, so is your struggle. If the storm has an expiration date, so does your pain. Look at nature. It teaches us something so powerful. Winter never stays forever. After winter comes spring, after spring comes summer, and after summer comes fall. Everything moves in cycles, so why do we believe that our struggles are permanent? Think about it. There was a time when you thought you wouldn't make it, a time when you thought the pain would never end. But guess what? You're still here. The problem passed, the season shifted, and you came through. That's proof that nothing lasts forever. Your heartbreak won't last forever. Your financial troubles won't last forever. Seasons change. The same way that nature shifts, your life will shift too. You may be in the cold of winter now, but if you hold on just a little while longer, your spring is coming. Too many of us are treating temporary problems like permanent conditions. We build our lives around things that are meant to pass. We make decisions in the middle of storms that were only meant to last for a short time. But hear me when I say, don't build a house where you were meant to pitch a tent. That depression you're in, it's not your permanent home. That heartbreak you're feeling, it's not your final destination. That financial struggle, it's not the end of your story. So stop acting like what you're facing today is all there is. You might be struggling, but you are not your struggle. You might be hurting, but you are not your pain. You might be in a storm, but the storm is not in you. The enemy wants you to believe that this is how it will always be. That you'll always be stuck, that you'll always be broken, that you'll always be behind. But let me remind you, the devil is a liar. What you're facing right now is just a season. and seasons change. If everything in life is temporary, that means you need to shift your focus to what will last. Stop focusing on things that are fleeting. Stop stressing over what will pass. Instead, fix your heart and mind on the things that truly matter. What will last? Your faith, your purpose, your growth, your character. These are the things that remain. When the storm passes, your house will still stand if you built it on the right foundation. Jesus told a parable about two builders. One built his house on sand, and the other built his house on rock. The rain came, the flood rose, and the wind blew. The house on sand collapsed, but the house on rock stood firm. Let me ask you today, what are you building on? Are you building on temporary things, or are you standing on something solid? If your hope is in money, it will fail you. If your hope is in people, they may leave you. If your hope is in success, it may disappoint you. But if your hope is in God, you will never be shaken. Some of you are asking, why am I going through this? You're looking at your life and wondering why you have to struggle so hard. But let me tell you something. What you're going through is preparing you for what's coming next. The pressure you feel is not meant to break you, it's meant to shape you. Diamonds are only formed under pressure. Gold is only purified through fire. And strong people are only made through struggle. So don't despise your struggle. Don't curse the process. Your pain has a purpose. The lesson you're learning right now will be the wisdom you use in the next season. The strength you're building in this storm will be the foundation of your future victories. The enemy wants you to quit. He wants you to throw in the towel right before your breakthrough comes. But I came to tell you today, don't you dare give up now. You are closer than you think. You are stronger than you realize. You have more in you than you know. The darkest hour is always right before the dawn. The moment when you feel like you can't take anymore is usually right before the breakthrough comes. So hold on. Keep fighting. Keep believing, because your change is coming. I need you to start speaking this over your life. Stop saying, I'll never get through this. Stop saying, I'll never be happy again. Stop saying, this is just my life now. This struggle is temporary. This heartbreak is temporary. Your story is not over. Your best days are not behind you. What's coming is greater than what's been. So don't stress, because everything is temporary. And when this storm is over, you're going to step into a season greater than anything you've ever imagined. The speech is designed to inspire, uplift, and encourage anyone going through a difficult season. Let me know if you need any adjustments. I want to remind you of something powerful today. Storms pass and seasons change. No matter how dark the sky looks right now, no matter how fierce the winds may blow, no matter how relentless the rain may fall, it will not last forever. I know that life can feel overwhelming. There are times when the weight of the world presses so hard on your shoulders that you feel like you can't carry on. There are moments when the storm is raging all around you and you wonder, will I ever see the sun again? But hear me when I say this, storms don't last always. Have you ever stood outside during a storm? The clouds roll in, the thunder roars, the lightning flashes, and for a moment it seems like the whole world is being shaken. The trees bend under the pressure, the rain beats against the windows, and the wind howls through the streets. But after a while, something incredible happens. The storm passes. The clouds begin to break apart, the rain slows down, the thunder fades into the distance, and suddenly, the sun begins to shine again. What once seemed like endless chaos now becomes a moment of peace. That's the beauty of life. No matter how strong the storm may be, it will not last forever. The problem many of us have is that we act like the storm we're in is permanent. We act like the pain we feel today is going to last forever. We convince ourselves that the struggle we are facing right now is all there is, as if we will never see better days again. But let me remind you, no storm is meant to last forever. Even the strongest hurricanes, the most violent tornadoes, the most relentless thunderstorms, all of them have an expiration date. And if nature tells us that storms must pass, why do we believe that the storms in our lives will never end? That financial hardship you're in, it's not permanent. That heartbreak you're feeling, it's not permanent. That loneliness you're facing, it's not permanent. That pain in your body, that pressure in your mind, that heaviness in your heart, it is not permanent. Storms are temporary. They come and they go. And no matter how long this storm has lasted in your life, I need you to believe that it will pass. Just like storms pass, seasons change. Nothing in nature stays the same forever. The earth moves in cycles. The winter may be cold and harsh, but it never lasts forever. Spring always comes. The flowers begin to bloom, the trees start to turn green, and the warmth of the sun begins to shine once again. Some of you feel like you've been stuck in a season of struggle for too long. You've been in a winter of pain, a winter of loss, a winter of hardship, and you're wondering, will things ever change? But hear me today. Just as winter turns to spring, your season is about to shift. You may be in a season of waiting right now, but your season of breakthrough is coming. You may be in a season of tears, but your season of joy is on the way. You may be in a season of loss, but a season of restoration is just around the corner. Seasons are designed to change. God never intended for you to stay in the same place forever. Just like the earth transitions from winter to spring, from spring to summer, from summer to fall, and back again, your life will also transition. One of the biggest mistakes we make is losing hope in the middle of the storm. When the wind is blowing and the rain is pouring, it's easy to believe that things will never get better. It's easy to allow fear, anxiety, and doubt to take over. But let me tell you something. The storm is not stronger than you. The storm cannot take you out unless you let it. Think about a tree standing in the middle of a storm. The wind may shake it, the rain may beat down on it, but its roots keep it grounded. And because of those roots, when the storm is over, the tree is still standing. You have roots too. You have strength inside of you. You have a foundation that no storm can shake. Yes, the storm may make you feel weak, but you are stronger than you realize. Yes, the season may be tough, but you are tougher than you think. Yes, the night may feel long, but morning is coming. Sometimes we don't understand why we have to go through storms. We ask, why me? Why do I have to suffer? Why do I have to struggle? But what if I told you that this storm is not here to break you, but to prepare you? Every storm you go through teaches you something. It strengthens you. It matures you. It prepares you for what's coming next. If you never went through tough times, you wouldn't know how strong you really are. If you never faced opposition, you wouldn't know how to fight. If you never struggled, you wouldn't know how to appreciate victory. The storm is not the end of your story. It's just the process before the promise. Some of you are right on the verge of a breakthrough, but the storm has made you tired, you're exhausted, you're worn out, you feel like you can't go on, but I need you to hold on because your season is about to shift. The enemy wants you to quit before the storm ends. He wants you to give up before the season changes. But hear me, you are too close to your breakthrough to quit now. Hold on a little longer, fight a little harder, pray a little more. You have to speak it before you see it. You have to believe it before it happens. Because when you declare victory over your life, you are telling the storm it does not have the power to destroy you. When the storm passes, when the season changes, when the clouds break apart and the sun begins to shine, you will step into a greater season than you've ever seen before. Your next season will be full of blessings. Your next season will be full of restoration. Your next season will be full of joy. But you have to make it through this storm first. You have to hold on and trust that God is still in control. So don't give up. Don't lose hope. Don't let the storm convince you that this is the end. Storms pass and seasons change. And when this storm is over, you will step into the greatest season of your life. This speech is designed to uplift and encourage anyone who is going through a tough time. Let me know if you'd like any adjustments. I need you to hear me today. Whatever you are facing right now, whatever battle you are fighting, whatever struggle you are enduring, it is just a chapter in your life, not the whole book. I know there are times when it feels like your pain will never end. There are moments when the weight of life presses down on you so hard that you can barely breathe. You look around and all you see is struggle. You cry out for help, but the answers don't seem to come. And in those moments, the enemy whispers to you, this is it. This is all there is. This is where your story ends. But I came to tell you today, the devil is a liar. This is not the end. This is not your final chapter. This is just a moment in your story, and your story is far from over. Have you ever read a book that had a difficult, painful chapter? A chapter where the main character was struggling, confused, or lost? Maybe the hero had been knocked down, betrayed, or left with no hope. But as you kept reading, something happened. The story shifted. The struggle turned into strength. The pain gave way to power. The heartbreak became a lesson that set the hero up for victory. That is exactly how life works. Every story has hard chapters, but the book does not end in defeat. Think about the greatest success stories you've ever heard. People who came from nothing and built something extraordinary. People who lost everything but found the strength to rise again. People who were counted out but made a comeback that no one saw coming. What do all of these people have in common? They didn't stop at the hard chapter. They kept going. They refused to let the painful moment define their entire story. They knew that their battle was just a chapter, not the conclusion. Some of you are looking at your life right now, and all you see is struggle. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe your heart has been broken. Maybe you feel like you are failing in your relationships, your career, or even within yourself. And because this chapter is painful, you start believing that this is all there is. But let me remind you, your worst days do not define you. Your hardest moments do not get to determine the outcome of your life. If you stop now, if you give up in this chapter, you'll never see the victory waiting for you in the next one. If a person quits reading a book in the middle, they'll never know how it ends. If a movie stops playing in the middle of the struggle, they'll never see the redemption. If an artist quits painting halfway, the masterpiece will never be finished. And if you quit now, you'll never see what God has prepared for you in the next season of your life. This pain is just a moment. This struggle is temporary. The battle you are in right now is just a chapter, not the entire book. I need you to understand something. The best stories, the most powerful testimonies, the most inspiring lives all have tough chapters. The people you admire, the ones you look up to, the ones who have made it through, they all had moments where they thought they wouldn't survive. They all had chapters where they felt broken. That successful entrepreneur, there was a chapter in their story where they were drowning in debt. That strong mother raising her children, there was a chapter where she cried herself to sleep, wondering if she was enough. That confident leader, there was a chapter where they doubted themselves and questioned if they had what it took. But the difference between them and the ones who never made it is simple. They kept turning the page. They didn't stop at the struggle. They didn't quit when life got tough. They kept moving forward, knowing that the next chapter had something greater in store. And let me tell you today, your next chapter is waiting. But you have to decide to keep going. You have to refuse to let this battle be the end of your story. You may not understand why you are going through what you're facing right now. You may not see the purpose in the pain. You may be asking, why me, why now, why this? But let me remind you, God is still writing your story. And when God writes the story, it always ends in victory. Joseph was thrown into a pit and sold into slavery, but that was just a chapter. His story ended with him ruling over Egypt. Job lost everything, his health, his family, his wealth, but that was just a chapter. His story ended with him receiving double for everything he lost. Jesus was crucified, beaten, and buried, but that was just a chapter. His story ended with the resurrection and victory over death. If God can bring them through, he can bring you through. This battle you are in, it is not the final chapter. This pain, it is not how your story ends. Your story is still being written. Your future is still being shaped. And if you keep moving forward, you are going to step into a season of joy, of restoration, of peace, and of victory. You may feel like you can't take another step, but keep turning the page. You may feel like the weight is too heavy, but keep turning the page. You may feel like giving up, but keep turning the page, because your breakthrough is in the next chapter. Your restoration is in the next chapter. Your testimony is in the next chapter. The enemy wants you to believe that this is it, that the pain will last forever, that the struggle is your identity. But he is a liar. And when this chapter ends, when the story shifts, when the breakthrough comes, you're going to look back and realize that every tear, every hardship, every struggle was setting you up for something greater. This battle is temporary. My pain is not my identity. My struggle is just a chapter, not my whole story. God is still writing my life. I will not quit. I will keep turning the page. Because when you keep going, when you refuse to quit, when you keep believing, you will see that what's coming next is greater than anything you have ever imagined. So don't give up. Don't stop now. Keep fighting, keep pushing, keep trusting, because your story is far from over. This expanded speech is designed to inspire and uplift, reminding you that no matter what you're going through, it's just a chapter, not the whole book. Let me know if you'd like any refinements or additions. My brothers and sisters, I need you to pause for a moment and reflect on this truth. You've already survived things you thought would break you. Think back to the moments in your life when you thought you wouldn't make it. The times when the pain was so deep, the weight was so heavy, the situation was so overwhelming that you thought, this is it. I can't do this. I can't survive this. And yet here you are. You made it through. You survived the heartbreak. You survived the disappointment. You survived the loss. You survived the betrayal. You survived the sleepless nights, the tear-soaked pillows, the days when you didn't think you could put one foot in front of the other. And if you made it through all of that, let me tell you something with confidence. This too shall pass. Look back and remember, sometimes when we are in the middle of a storm, we forget just how strong we really are. We let the darkness of the moment make us believe that we are weaker than we are. We let the enemy whisper in our ear that this situation is different, that this time we won't survive. But the devil is a liar. I want you to take a moment and look back over your life. Remember the times when you were on the verge of giving up, but somehow found the strength to push through. Think about the times when you thought the pain would swallow you whole, but you came out on the other side. God didn't bring you this far to leave you. The strength that carried you before is still inside you. The grace that covered you in the past is still covering you today. What you are facing right now is not greater than what you've already survived. You have proof of your resilience. You have evidence of your endurance. You have a testimony that says, I am stronger than I thought I was. And because you've already made it through things you thought would break you, I promise you, this too shall pass. Storms don't last forever. Pain doesn't last forever. Suffering doesn't last forever. Even the strongest hurricane will eventually die down. Even the fiercest thunderstorm will eventually pass. The darkest night always gives way to the morning sun. Right now, you might feel like the storm in your life will never end. You might feel like this pain will last forever. But let me remind you, nothing in life is permanent. The season of struggle will end. The season of grief will end. The season of waiting will end. The season of waiting will end. The season of suffering will end. And when it does, you will stand in victory, looking back and realizing that you were stronger than you ever imagined. The pain may feel unbearable now, but it is not eternal. The difficulty may seem endless now, but there will be a day when you wake up and realize, I made it through. And when that day comes, you will see that everything you went through was shaping you, molding you, and preparing you for something greater. One of the biggest lies the enemy tells us in the middle of our battles is that we are not strong enough. He wants us to believe that we don't have what it takes to endure, that we are too weak, too broken, too weary to keep going. Do you know how I know? Because you're still here. Because you've already fought battles and won. Because life has thrown storms at you before, and you're still standing. Strength is not measured by how easy life is. Strength is measured by what you've survived. And if you've made it through heartbreak, if you've made it through loss, if you've made it through disappointment, if you've made it through nights where you thought you would make it to the morning, then you, my friend, are stronger than you give yourself credit for. I know it doesn't feel good right now. I know you wish you could skip this part of your story. I know you would rather not go through this storm. The challenges you face are shaping you into the person you are meant to be. The struggles you endure are strengthening you in ways you cannot yet see. The battles you fight today are preparing you for victories in your future. What if the very thing you are fighting right now is the thing that will equip you for your destiny? What if the pain you are experiencing today is the foundation for the testimony you will share tomorrow? The struggle is not for nothing. The storm is not pointless. The hardship is not without meaning. God is using it to build you, to mold you, to strengthen you. Don't let temporary pain make you quit permanently. Too many people give up too soon. Too many people allow temporary pain to make them quit permanently. I don't want that to be you. I don't want you to stop now. I don't want you to throw in the towel just because things feel hard in this moment. You have come too far. You have fought too many battles. You have survived too much to give up now. This is not where your story ends. This is just another chapter, and when this chapter closes, a new one will begin. Hold on. Your breakthrough is coming. There is a moment of peace, a moment of joy, a moment of victory that is on its way. But you have to hold on. You have to push through the storm. You have to refuse to quit. You have to remind yourself, I've survived before and I will survive again. I know you're tired, but keep going. I know you're weary, but don't stop now. I know it's hard, but this too shall pass. I want you to declare this right now. I have already survived things I thought would break me. I am stronger than I realize. Speak it until you believe it. Declare it until your heart is filled, because what's coming is greater than what's been. Your best days are ahead. So don't quit. Don't stop. Don't let this moment convince you that you are defeated. You've already survived things you thought would break you. This too shall pass. And when it does, you will look back and see that every tear, every hardship, every battle was preparing you for something greater. This speech is designed to uplift and empower, reminding you that no matter what you're facing, you've survived before and you will survive again. Let me know if you'd like any refinements. My brothers and sisters, I need you to hear me today. God never intended for you to live in constant anxiety and fear. That was never his plan for you. That was never his purpose for your life. But somewhere along the way, we let fear creep in. Somewhere along the way, we allowed anxiety to take root in our hearts and minds. Somewhere along the way, we started believing the lies of the enemy, that we are not safe, that we are not enough, that we will never make it, that the worst is always waiting just around the corner. But I came to tell you today, God did not design you to live in fear. God did not create you to be weighed down by anxiety. God did not put you on this earth to be tormented by worry. That is not your portion. That is not your destiny. That is not the life that God has for you. The Bible tells us in 2 Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. That means if you are living in fear, if you are drowning in anxiety, if you are constantly tormented by worry, it is not from God. That spirit of fear comes from the enemy, because he knows that if he can keep you afraid, he can keep you from walking in the purpose that God has for you. Fear will paralyze you. Fear will keep you from taking steps forward. Fear will make you doubt what God has already promised you. And the enemy will use fear to make you believe that everything is out of control, that disaster is always around the corner, that you are powerless against the trials of life. You are not powerless. You are not out of control. You are not at the mercy of fear. You are a child of God, and he has already equipped you with power, love, and a sound mind. Anxiety will have you worrying about things that haven't even happened yet. Anxiety will make you lose sleep over situations that God has already handled. Anxiety will trick you into believing that you have to carry everything on your own, as if God is not sitting on the throne watching over you and making a way for you. God never called you to live a life filled with stress, worry, and fear of the unknown. God never created you to be burdened by things that are outside of your control. The Bible tells us in Philippians 4:6-7, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. That means God is saying, you don't have to carry this by yourself. You don't have to live in anxiety. You don't have to fear the future. Just give it to me, and I will give you peace. Some of you are carrying burdens that God never intended for you to carry. Some of you are walking through life, weighed down by worry, by stress, by uncertainty. And God is saying, let it go. Give it to me. I never meant for you to live like this. If fear is not from God, if anxiety is not from God, then what does God want for you? The Bible tells us in John 14:27, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid. A peace that doesn't make sense in the middle of a storm. A peace that calms your heart even when everything around you feels chaotic. A peace that reminds you that God is in control even when you don't understand what's happening. The world will tell you that peace comes from having everything figured out. The world will tell you that peace comes from having enough money, enough security, enough control over your circumstances. And when you truly trust in God, when you truly believe that He is in control, when you truly surrender your fears and worries to Him, that is when you will experience a peace that surpasses all understanding. Some of you are afraid because you don't know what's next. You're anxious because you don't have all the answers. You're worried because things are not going the way you expected. The Bible tells us in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. That means that even when you don't understand what's happening, God has a plan. Even when things feel uncertain, God has a purpose. Even when you don't see the full picture, God knows exactly what He is doing. If you truly believe that God is for you, if you truly believe that He has good plans for your life, then you don't have to live in fear. You don't have to be controlled by anxiety. You don't have to walk through life burdened by worry. I know it's hard to let go. I know it's hard to stop overthinking, to stop stressing, to stop worrying about every little detail. Let it go. Stop trying to control everything. Stop carrying burdens that were never meant for you. Stop living in fear. Trust me, I've got you. God has failed you, has never left you. He has never abandoned you. And He's not about to start now. So let go of the fear. Let go of the anxiety, let go of the stress, and step into the peace that God has for you. I want you to declare this right now. Anxiety does not control me. I will not be shaken because I trust in God's plan. Speak it until you believe it. Declare it until it becomes your reality, because you were never meant to live in fear. You were never meant to be controlled by anxiety. God never intended for you to live in constant fear and worry. He created you to live in peace and joy and confidence, knowing that He is in control. Life has a way of throwing curveballs at us when we least expect it. The job we thought was secure suddenly disappears. The relationship we invested in falls apart. The plans we so carefully made unravel before our eyes. In moments like these, it's easy, almost automatic, to fall into stress and panic. Our minds race with questions. What am I going to do? How will I fix this? What if things don't get better? Stress tells us that everything is out of control. Panic whispers that disaster is inevitable. But my friends, I want you to hear me loud and clear. Shifting your focus from stress to trust will bring you peace instead of panic. You see, stress thrives in uncertainty. It feeds on the unknown. It magnifies our problems and makes them seem larger than life. But trust is the antidote. Trust says, even if I don't know what's next, I believe that God does. Trust says, even if things don't make sense to me, I know they make sense to Him. The moment we take our focus off of our worries and place it on God, something supernatural happens. The panic that once gripped us begins to loosen its hold. The anxiety that once consumed us starts to fade. And in its place, we find something we didn't think was possible in the middle of our storm peace. Stress comes from trying to control what only God can handle. Stress is a byproduct of trying to control things that were never meant to be in our hands. When we stress, we are essentially saying, this is up to me. I have to figure this out. I have to make this work. If I don't fix it, everything will fall apart. But let me ask you something. When has stress ever actually solved a problem? When has worry ever made a situation better? Jesus Himself asked in Matthew 20:27, can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? The answer is no. Worry doesn't fix things. Stress doesn't create solutions. Anxiety doesn't bring clarity. What stress does is steal our joy. It drains our energy. It keeps us up at night, replaying every possible worst-case scenario in our minds. It takes away our ability to enjoy the present moment because we are too consumed with fears about the future. God didn't create you to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. He didn't design you to live in constant worry. He didn't call you to be consumed by stress. When we shift our focus from stress to trust, we acknowledge a powerful truth. God is in control and we are not. Now, for some people, that might sound scary. We like control. We like knowing what's next. We like feeling like we have a grip on things. But here's the problem: we never really had control to begin with. We can't control the economy. We can't control how people treat us. We can't control unforeseen circumstances. We can't control when or how certain blessings come into our lives. But what we can control is our response. And our response should always be to trust in God's plan rather than panic over our own limitations. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Did you catch that? Lean not on your own understanding. That means even when you don't see a way, even when you don't understand why things are happening the way they are, even when life doesn't make sense, you still trust him. Because God sees the whole picture. He knows the end from the beginning. What looks like a setback to you may actually be a setup for something greater. What seems like an unanswered prayer may be God's protection. What feels like a detour may be leading you to a destination that is far better than what you originally planned. When you shift your focus from how am I going to fix this to God, I trust that you already have this figured out, peace replaces panic. When you trust God, you are no longer ruled by stress. You no longer panic at the first sign of trouble. Instead, you rest in the knowledge that God is working behind the scenes, even when you can't see it. Philippians 4:6-7 tells us, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. The key here is thanksgiving. Even in the middle of uncertainty, we thank God. Even when we don't have the answers, we thank him for what he's already done. Even when we feel pressure, we choose to praise instead of panic. And when we do that, God gives us peace that surpasses all understanding. Peace that doesn't make sense to the world. Peace that says, I don't know what's next, but I know God is good. And that's enough. Every time you catch yourself worrying, stop and pray. Replace your anxious thoughts with a conversation with God. Think back to all the times God has come through for you before. If he did it before, he will do it again. If it's out of your hands, it's in God's hands. Let go of what you cannot change. Read scriptures about God's faithfulness. Meditate on his word instead of your worries. Be around those who will remind you to trust God rather than feed into your fears. Instead of focusing on what's going wrong, worship God for who he is. Let praise shift your perspective. At the end of the day, you have a choice. You can choose stress or you can choose trust. You can choose to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, or you can choose to place it in God's hands. You can choose to panic, or you can choose to rest in his peace. I encourage you today, choose trust. Choose to believe that God's plans are better than your own. Choose to believe that he is working things out for your good. Choose to believe that no matter what comes your way, you are held in the hands of a God who never fails. And when you do that, stress will lose its power over you. Panic will fade away. And in its place, you will find a peace that can only come from knowing that God is in control. So shift your focus today. Let go of stress. Embrace trust. And step into the peace that God has been waiting to give you all along. Life has a way of testing us in ways we never expected. The storms come without warning. The nights feel longer than we can bear. The weight of our struggles presses down on us, and in those dark moments, it can feel like there is no way out. Your struggle is temporary, but your victory is permanent. The pain you feel today is not the end of your story. The tears you've cried are not wasted. The sleepless nights, the heavy heart, the uncertainty of what's next, none of it is forever. I know it feels like this season will never end. I know it feels like the weight of what you're carrying is too much. But listen to me, seasons change. Storms don't last. Pain doesn't get the final say. There is a morning coming, there is joy coming, there is victory coming. The night represents the struggle. The night represents the hardship, the pain, the moments of uncertainty. It's the heartbreak that keeps you up at night. It's the financial struggle that won't seem to let up. It's the illness that's tried to steal your peace. It's the betrayal that left you broken. It's the disappointment that made you question everything. We all go through night seasons. The Bible never says we won't face trouble. It never promises that we will be exempt from trials. In fact, John 16:33 tells us, in this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world. That means trouble will come. Pain will come. Nights of weeping will come. But guess what? They won't last forever. I don't know what your night season looks like right now, but I do know this, it's temporary. You may feel like you're stuck, like things will never get better, like the sun will never rise again. But the enemy is a liar. Your morning is coming, your breakthrough is coming, your healing is coming. Sometimes when we're in the middle of our struggle, it feels like God is silent. It feels like he doesn't see our pain, like he's distant, like he's not listening. Psalm 56:8 says, you keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. That means not a single tear you've cried has gone unnoticed by God. Not a single moment of pain has been overlooked. Every tear you've shed, every silent prayer you've whispered, every time you've felt like giving up, God has seen it all, and he is not ignoring you. He is not leaving you in your pain. He is working behind the scenes, moving things in your favor, preparing your morning even while you are still in the night. One of the greatest tricks of the enemy is to make you believe that your current struggle is your final destination. He wants you to think that because you're in pain now, you will always be in pain. He wants you to believe that because things are difficult now, they will always be difficult. Your struggle is temporary. Your pain is temporary. Your setback is temporary. Your heartbreak is temporary. Because when God brings you out of this, it won't just be for a moment. It will be for good. When God restores you, he restores completely. When God heals you, he heals fully. When God delivers you, he delivers permanently. If you're still in the middle of the struggle, that just means God is still writing. He's still working. He's still turning things around. And when he brings you out, you're not just coming out barely surviving. You're coming out stronger, wiser, more anointed, and more victorious than ever before. Think about Joseph. He was thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused and thrown into prison. His night season was long. It was painful. It was full of betrayal and hardship. One day, in an instant, God lifted Joseph from the prison to the palace. What was meant for evil, God turned for good. Think about Job. He lost everything, his family, his wealth, his health. His night season was one of unimaginable suffering, but the story didn't end in the night. God restored Job and gave him double for everything he lost. His latter days were greater than his former days. What does that mean for you? It means that no matter how bad things look right now, this is not how your story ends. You may be in the middle of a difficult chapter, but the final chapter is one of victory. The enemy wants you to quit in the middle of the night. He wants you to believe that morning will never come. Hold on to your hope. Hold on to the promises of God, because morning is coming. The darkest hour is always just before dawn. Right before the breakthrough, things may feel the hardest. Right before the victory, the enemy may try to convince you that all hope is lost. Your morning is closer than you think. Your breakthrough is on the horizon. Your victory is already written. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. My pain is temporary, but my victory is permanent. My struggles will not define me. God's promises will. This night season will pass, and joy is coming. I will not quit before my morning arrives. I trust that God is working all things for my good. Now hold on to those words. Speak them until you believe them, because your night may feel long, but morning is coming. So don't give up. Don't lose hope. because what's ahead of you is greater than what's behind you. We all face struggles, challenges, and moments when life feels unfair. It's easy to look at our circumstances and start complaining. We complain about our jobs, our finances, our relationships, our health, and the things that didn't go the way we planned. We find ourselves stuck in cycles of frustration, wondering why things aren't changing. But let me tell you something, complaining won't change your situation. Faith and perseverance will. You see, complaining feels good in the moment. It feels like a release. It makes us feel like we're taking control, expressing our frustrations, and getting things off our chest. But the truth is, complaining doesn't solve problems. It magnifies them. Complaining doesn't move you forward. It keeps you stuck. Complaining doesn't open doors, it keeps them shut. You can complain about your problems all day long, but at the end of the day, nothing will change until you shift your focus from grumbling to growing, from frustration to faith, and from self-pity to perseverance. Think about the Israelites in the Bible. After God delivered them from Egypt, they were on their way to the promised land, but instead of focusing on where God was taking them, they focused on what they didn't like about the journey. They complained about being in the wilderness. They complained about not having the food they wanted. They complained about the hardships along the way. And you know what happened? What should have been an 11-day journey turned into 40 years of wandering. Not because God wasn't able to bring them into the promised land. Not because the promise wasn't real. But because their complaining kept them stuck in a cycle of unbelief and disobedience. You see, complaining doesn't just express frustration, it shifts your mindset away from faith. When you complain, you're focusing on what's wrong instead of trusting that God is working things out for your good. Complaining keeps you locked in a mindset of defeat instead of moving forward in victory. Faith moves mountains, complaining builds walls. Jesus said in Mark 11:23, "Truly I tell you, if anyone says to this mountain, 'Go, throw yourself into the sea,' and does not doubt in their heart, but believes that what they say will happen, it will be done for them." Walls that block your vision, walls that keep you from seeing the opportunities ahead. You can't move forward if all you're doing is looking at the mountain and complaining about how big it is. You have to speak to the mountain in faith. You have to believe that even when you can't see the solution, God is already working things out. You have to trust that your breakthrough is on the way. Faith focuses on the promise. Complaining says this is impossible. Faith says with God all things are possible. Complaining says I'll never make it. Faith says God is making a way for me. Which one are you choosing today? Are you choosing to stay stuck in a cycle of negativity, or are you choosing to step forward in faith? Perseverance turns obstacles into opportunities. Faith is the first step, but faith alone isn't enough. You have to persevere. You see, many people start with faith, but when things don't change immediately, they go back to complaining. They pray once, and when they don't see instant results, they start questioning if God is even listening. But faith isn't about instant results, it's about trusting God's timing. And perseverance is what keeps you moving forward even when things don't change right away. James 1:2-4 says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." That means your trials are not meant to break you, they are meant to build you. Your struggles are not a sign that God has forgotten you, They are a sign that God is preparing you. Joseph had a dream, but before he reached the palace, he went through betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment. He could have complained, but instead he remained faithful, and in due time he was elevated to second in command of Egypt. David was anointed to be king, but before he wore the crown, he had to persevere through years of running from Saul, fighting battles and facing discouragement. He could have given up, but he chose to trust God's timing. The woman with the issue of blood suffered for 12 years, but she didn't stop believing. She pushed through the crowd, touched the hem of Jesus' garment, and received her healing. What if they had quit? What if they had complained and given up? They would have never seen the promises of God fulfilled in their lives. Perseverance turns obstacles into opportunities. What looks like a setback is actually a setup for something greater. What feels like rejection is actually redirection to something better. But you will never see the reward if you quit in the middle of the process. Practical ways to shift from complaining to faith and perseverance. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, thank God for what's right. Gratitude shifts your perspective and strengthens your faith. Instead of saying, I'll never get out of this, start saying, God is making a way for me. Words have power. Speak faith, not fear. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean God isn't working. Keep believing, keep praying, and keep trusting. Faith without works is dead. Don't just wait for things to change. Take steps in the right direction. Apply for that job. Start that business. Repair that relationship. Take care of your health. Negative people will keep you stuck. Surround yourself with those who encourage, uplift, and push you toward perseverance. I don't know what you're facing today. Maybe it feels like your prayers aren't being answered. Maybe you're frustrated with where you are in life. Maybe you've been waiting for a breakthrough for so long that you're tempted to give up. But I came to remind you, don't let complaining steal your breakthrough. God is not finished with your story. He is still working. He is still moving. Your situation may not change overnight, but if you stay in faith and keep persevering, you will see the victory. No more complaining, no more negativity, no more focusing on what's wrong. Instead, choose faith, choose perseverance. Choose to trust God even when you don't understand, because complaining won't change your situation, but faith and perseverance will. And if you hold on just a little longer, you'll see that your breakthrough was closer than you ever imagined. Somebody say amen. Instead of stressing, start trusting. Instead of complaining, start believing. Instead of breaking down, start building up. When you focus on the temporary nature of your troubles, you shift from panic to peace. This setback is temporary. This heartbreak is temporary. This struggle is temporary. This fear is temporary. So don't stress, because everything is temporary. And when this storm passes, you're going to step into a season greater than anything you've ever seen.